Before we can master the moment, we must understand the momentum. I want you to think about the last time you were intimate. There is a specific rhythm that often takes over, isn't there? It starts slow, a touch, a kiss, a whisper. But as the energy builds, as the clothes fall away and the distance between you closes, something shifts in him. You might have felt it. It's a subtle change in his energy. He moves from being with you to being focused. His breathing quickens. His movements become more urgent. It feels as if he has entered a tunnel and his only goal is to reach the other side. For many women, this moment can feel isolating. You might feel like he has left the emotional space of the room and entered a purely physical one. You are still there wanting to linger in the softness, wanting to swim in the feeling of connection, but he is already racing toward the finish line. It is easy to interpret this as a lack of care. It is easy to think he just wants release, or hey, isn't feeling what I'm feeling. But I need you to understand the first secret of male psychology. This rush is not a rejection of you. It is biology hijacking his brain. For thousands of years, the male brain has been wired for mission completion. In the heat of passion, his testosterone spikes, and his brain creates a singular tunnel vision focus. He isn't rushing because he wants it to be over. He is rushing because his biological programming is screaming at him to merge, to conquer, and to complete the act. He is in a trance of drive. However, just because this is natural does not mean we have to accept it. In fact, if we allow this biological autopilot to run the show, we miss the magic. We miss the soul. If you let him rush past the threshold, that sacred moment right before he enters you, he remains in his conqueror brain. He stays in control. And if he stays in control, he cannot surrender. To make him tremble, we have to break that trance. We have to gently, lovingly, but firmly interrupt his programming. We have to teach his body that the prize is not the finish line. The prize is you right here in this suspended second. But before we stop him, we have to understand what he is actually running from. The fear of being seen. We have talked about his drive. Now, let's talk about his fear. This might sound contradictory. You look at him, he seems strong, dominant, perhaps even aggressive in his desire. He doesn't look afraid. He looks powerful. But here is the truth that very few men will ever admit, perhaps not even to themselves. The rush is often a shield. Intimacy, true, deep, soul-merging intimacy is terrifying. The word itself, intimacy, sounds like onto me. See, to be truly intimate is to let someone see into you. It is to be fully exposed, not just physically naked, but emotionally unarmed. When a man is moving fast, when he is lost in the friction and the heat and the rhythm, he is safe, he is performing, he knows what to do. He is the lover, the actor, the door. He doesn't have to think, he just has to act. The momentum protects him from the sheer intensity of his feelings for you. But what happens if everything stops? What happens if right at the precipice, before the physical connection becomes complete, the motion ceases? Suddenly, the noise of his instinct quiets down. Suddenly, he cannot hide behind the motion. He is just there, hovering, waiting. And in that silence, he is forced to feel the weight of his own desire. He is forced to look at you, really look at you, and realize how much power you hold over him. That is a vulnerable place for a man. It makes him feel out of control. And that loss of control is exactly where the tremble comes from. A man does not tremble when he is confident and in charge. He trembles when he is overwhelmed. He trembles when his emotional cup is so full that his body physically shakes to contain it. By rushing, he is unconsciously trying to avoid that overwhelm. He is trying to keep his footing. Your role, and this is the secret power we are developing today, is to be the one brave enough to create that space. You are going to be the one who says, without words, it is safe to stop. It is safe to feel this much. You are going to strip him of his armor by simply pressing the pause button. But to do that, you must first deal with your own internal landscape, because if he is running from vulnerability, you might be running from your own power, turning anxiety into anticipation, so he is rushing to avoid vulnerability. But what about you? Let's be honest about what is happening inside your body in those moments. As the clothes come off and the moment approaches, do you feel calm? Or do you feel a fluttering in your stomach? Do you feel a tightness in your chest? Do your hands shake just a little? Society tells us that this is nervousness. We label it as anxiety. We think, oh no, I hope I look okay, or I hope I do this right, or I feel awkward. We try to suppress it. We try to hide the shaking. We try to act cool and confident, putting on a mask of the perfect lover. But I want to offer you a radical shift in perspective. That shaking, that fluttering heart, that isn't a weakness. That is energy. That is the sheer voltage of the moment moving through your nervous system. You are standing on the edge of a profound energetic exchange. Of course you are trembling. You are about to merge your energy with another human being. Your body knows the magnitude of this, even if your mind is just worrying about your hair. The mistake we make is trying to calm down. We try to flatten that energy. We try to make it go away. Instead, I want you to reframe it. That anxiety is actually anticipation. It is a potential power. Think of a bow and arrow. When you pull the string back, the bow creates tension. It shakes. It trembles under the strain. But that tension is what gives the arrow its flight. Without the tension, there is no power. The technique I am about to teach you in the next chapter. The sacred pause requires you to use this energy. When you feel your heart racing, don't try to slow it down yet. Don't hide it. Let him see your chest rise and fall. Let him feel the slight tremor in your hand as you reach out to stop him. Because when you reveal your own tremble, you give him permission to reveal his. Vulnerability is contagious. If you are trying to be a perfect, plastic, confident mannequin, he will stay in his performance mode. But if you are a breathing, feeling, trembling woman who is overwhelmed by the moment, he will be pulled into that reality with you. So take that nervousness and rename it. Call it the spark. And now let me show you exactly how to use that spark to stop him in his tracks. The core technique, the sacred pause, the stop signal. Now we move from theory to practice. We move from understanding the why to executing the how. You are in the moment. The energy has built up. The rhythm we discussed in the first chapter, that rushing biological drive, is in full motion. He is ready. You are ready. He is positioning himself to bridge the final gap between you. He is at the very threshold of your body. This is the most critical microsecond of the entire encounter. Usually, this is where you might instinctively relax, surrender, or perhaps even rush forward to meet him because you are eager to. But tonight you are going to do something different. Tonight you are going to introduce the stop signal. I want you to visualize this clearly so that when the moment comes, your body knows exactly what to do. Right as he moves to enter you, when he is perhaps inches away or just beginning to make that final connection, I want you to take your hands and place them firmly on his body. The placement matters. You have two options depending on the dynamic you want to create. Option one is the chest press. Place the palm of your hand flat against the center of his chest, right over his heart bone. Do not push him away aggressively as if you are rejecting him. Instead, apply a firm, steady resistance. Think of it as a firm cushion. You are creating a physical boundary that says halt. Option two, for a more tender approach, is the face frame. Place both of your hands on his cheeks, your thumbs grazing his cheekbones, and gently hold his face. Stiffen your arms just enough to prevent him from moving forward. Whether you choose the chest or the face, the message is the same. You are physically stopping the momentum of the encounter. He will be surprised. His body is expecting the green light, and you have just given him a yellow light. He will likely freeze. His muscles will tense up. He might look at you with confusion or intense questions. Do not panic. Do not pull your hands away. This physical arrest is the most powerful psychological tool you possess. In this split second, you have disrupted the autopilot script. You have taken him out of the conqueror trance and brought him abruptly back into the present moment. You are not pushing him away because you don't want him. You are holding him back because you want to savor the anticipation. You are communicating that access to your body is a privilege, a sacred event that cannot be rushed. By placing your hand there, you are claiming your role as the gatekeeper. You are deciding the exact moment the connection happens. And that authority, that subtle display of control, it is intoxicating to a man. But stopping him is only the first step. It is what you do with the silence that follows that creates the magic. The 3-second rule, you have placed your hand on his chest. You have stopped his movement. The room has gone quiet. Now you count, I call this the 3-second rule, and the timing is scientific. If you pause for only 1 second, it feels like a glitch. It feels like a mistake or a hesitation, and he will likely just push past it. It isn't enough time to reset his brain. If you pause for 10 seconds, it becomes awkward. The heat begins to dissipate. He might start to worry that something is wrong, that you've changed your mind, or that he has done something to upset you. The tension turns into anxiety. But 3 seconds is the Goldilocks zone of psychological tension. Let's look at what happens in his brain during these 3 seconds. Second one, shock. His brain registers the physical resistance. The tunnel vision of his biological drive is shattered. He thinks, wait, why have we stopped? He becomes hyper aware of his surroundings and, most importantly, hyper aware of you. Second to assessment, he looks at you. He feels your hand on his chest. He realizes this isn't a rejection. You are still there. You are still present. You are still open to him. He realizes you are doing this on purpose. Second three, the dopamine spike. This is where the addiction happens. The brain releases dopamine, the desire chemical, in response to anticipation, not just reward. When we get what we want immediately, dopamine peaks and then drops. But when there is an obstruction, when the reward is delayed just slightly, dopamine goes through the roof. By making him wait those 3 seconds, you are essentially starving his brain of the release it expects, causing his desire to double in intensity. It is like holding back the water of a dam. The pressure builds and builds against the wall of your hand. During these 3 seconds, do not look away. We will cover the gaze in the next chapter. Just hold him there. Let the silence hang in the air. Let the tension become so thick you could cut it with a knife. You are teaching him a new language of intimacy. You are teaching him that the space between the touching is just as electric as the touching itself. In this pause, he is not just a body seeking friction. He is a man waiting for a woman. He becomes acutely aware of his own need for you. He realizes in a visceral way that he cannot just take you, he must be received by you. And once that realization lands, once you feel that subtle shift in his energy from pushing to othering, the 3 seconds are up. It is time to open the gates. The invitation, the pause has done its work. The tension is at its peak. He is trembling with the need to be close to you. Now you must guide him across the threshold. This phase is called the invitation. The mistake many women make after a pause is simply letting go. They drop their hands and go limp, effectively saying, okay, you can go now. This breaks the spell. It turns the power dynamic back into passivity. You don't want to just let him enter. You want to invite him in. This concept is called active allowing. Active allowing means you are still the one directing the energy, even as you surrender. Here is how to execute the invitation flawlessly. First, the release. Do not abruptly jerk your hand away from his chest. Instead, let your hand slide. If your hand is on his chest, slide it slowly up over his shoulder and wrap it around the back of his neck. If your hands are on his face, slide them back into his hair, gripping gently. This movement signals the stop sign is gone. The green light is on, come closer. Second, the breath, that we will go deeper into this later. But for now, keep it simple. As you slide your hands, release a deep, audible exhale, a soft, low sound from your throat like a sigh of relief. This sound tells his primal brain that you are safe, you are ready, and you are welcoming him. It acts as the auditory cue that triggers his release. Third, the pull. Use that hand on the back of his neck or his back to gently apply pressure, pulling him toward you. This is the key. You stopped him, and now you are pulling him. You have effectively curated the entire entry. You halted the timeline, created a moment of sacred suspension, and now you are restarting time on your own terms. When he finally bridges that gap, when he finally enters you, it will feel completely different than the rushed, frantic collisions of the past. Because he had to wait for it, even for just 3 seconds, he will value it infinitely more. It will feel like a gift you have bestowed upon him rather than something he simply took. He will feel a sense of relief and gratitude wash over him. The tremble we promised, it happens right here. That release of tension, that collision of dopamine and oxytocin, it creates a physical shudder in the nervous system. You have turned a physical act into an emotional journey. You have made him feel seen, controlled, and then welcomed. But there is one more layer we must add to this sacred pause to make it truly unforgettable. As you stop him and as you invite him, where are your eyes? If you are looking at the ceiling or closing your eyes tight, you are missing half the power. In the next chapter, we are going to discuss the visual anchor that seals his soul to yours. The visual anchor, soul gazing, the tendency to hide. We have stopped the momentum. We have created the sacred pause. Now, we must address the most difficult part of this entire process. I want to talk about your eyes. When you are intimate, especially in that intense moment right before connection, what do your eyes do? If you are like 95% of women, your instinct is to close them. You squeeze them shut. You turn your face into the pillow. You retreat into the darkness behind your eyelids. Why do we do this? Psychologically, closing our eyes is a defense mechanism. It is a way to leave the room when the physical sensations become overwhelming or when the vulnerability feels too dangerous. We close our eyes to escape into our own heads. We go into fantasy, we focus on the internal feeling because the external reality, the reality of being fully seen by another person, is terrifying. It feels safer to hide. It feels safer to let the body do the work while the mind drifts into a private space. But here is the hard truth: when you close your eyes at the threshold moment, you sever the emotional cord. You are physically with him, yes, but energetically you have left the building. To him, looking down at you, it can feel like you have disappeared. He sees your pleasure, perhaps, but he does not see you. He is alone in the experience. And because he is alone, he remains in his own head, focusing on his own physical sensation, rushing toward his own finish line. If you want to make him tremble, if you want to create a bond that haunts him long after the act is over, you must resist the urge to hide. This is the visual anchor. Right when you place your hand on his chest, right when you initiate that 3-second pause, you must open your eyes. It will feel intense. It might even feel excruciatingly raw. Every instinct in your body will scream, "Look away, hide." But I want you to stay. By keeping your eyes open, you are anchoring yourself in the present reality. You are saying, I am not fantasizing about something else. I am not hiding in the dark. I am right here with you in this fire. This is the moment you move from being a passive participant to an active witness. And witnessing him in his most vulnerable state is the key to unlocking his heart. But how do you look at him without it feeling awkward or intense? Soft eye technique. There is a massive difference between staring and gazing. Many women are afraid to maintain eye contact during intimacy because they think it has to be intense. They imagine a staring contest. They think they need to look like a predator or a seductress from a movie, burning a hole through his soul. That kind of intensity can actually be off-putting. It feels performative. It feels demanding. The look that melts a man's defenses is not hard. It is liquid. I call this the soft eye technique. To achieve this, you need to consciously relax the muscles around your eyes. When we are nervous or aroused, our brows tend to furrow. We squint, our focus becomes sharp and laser-like. This is the hard eye. It signals stress or intense scrutiny. I want you to try this right now, wherever you are. Take a deep breath. Now, imagine a warm towel has been placed over your forehead. Feel the skin between your eyebrows smooth out. Feel the tiny muscles at the corners of your eyes release. Let your eyelids become heavy, as if you are just waking up from a beautiful dream. This is the soft eye. It is receptive, not aggressive. It is a look of invitation. Now, where do you look? If you look at his whole face, your eyes will dart around, which looks anxious. If you look at his mouth, it signals hunger. But if you want to signal soul connection, there is a specific target. Look into his left eye. Neurologically, the left eye is connected to the right hemisphere of the brain, the side responsible for emotional processing, intuition, and non-verbal communication. In many ancient traditions, the left eye is considered the window to the soul. When you use the soft eye to gaze gently into his left eye, you bypass his logical brain, the left hemisphere. You speak directly to his emotional center. It creates a feedback loop of vulnerability. He will feel like you are looking past his physical form and seeing the him underneath. During that 3-second pause we practiced in the last chapter, this is your only job. Hand on his chest, breath deep, face relaxed, soft gaze into his left eye. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to look sexy. The softness is the sexiness. But you might still be worried. You might be thinking, but what if he sees my insecurities? What if he sees something he doesn't like? What he sees when you look, this is the fear that holds us back, isn't it? We close our eyes because we are afraid of what he sees. We worry that if he looks too closely, he will see our wrinkles, our blemishes, our insecurity, or the fear that we aren't good enough in bed. We project our own self-judgment onto him. We think if I look at him, he will look at me and he will judge me. I need you to hear this and I need you to believe it. That is not what is happening in his brain. When a man is in that threshold moment, when he is filled with desire and you stop him and you look at him with those soft, open eyes, he is not seeing your flaws. He is physiologically incapable of analyzing your imperfections. His brain is flooded with dopamine and adrenaline. What he sees when you look at him is acceptance. Men carry a deep, often unspoken shame about their own desire. They worry that their hunger is too much. It is animalistic, or that they are just using you. When you look him in the eye during the act, you are giving him the ultimate validation. You are telling him, I see your desire and I accept it. I am here with you. I am not afraid of you. To a man, being fully seen while he is in that state of high arousal is incredibly healing. It relieves him of his shame. And do you know what happens when a man feels fully accepted? He falls in love. He trembles because the emotional safety you have just created is more intense than the physical sensation. He feels worthy, he feels powerful, and he associates you with that feeling of worthiness. So when you open your eyes, do not worry about your angles. Do not worry about the lighting. Realize that your eyes are a mirror. When you look at him with love and softness, he sees himself reflected as a beloved, desirable man. And that reflection is the most addictive thing in the world to him. He won't look away. He can't. You have locked him in. Now that we have the touch, the pause, and the sight, the gaze, we need to add the third element, the element that bypasses the mind entirely and vibrates in the body. We need to talk about sound. Auditory anchoring, the whisper, the silence trap. We have engaged the sense of touch with the pause. We have engaged the sense of sight with the gaze. Now we must enter the mind through the most primal doorway of all sound. I want you to imagine a movie scene. The couple is coming together, the tension is high, the visuals are beautiful, but the sound is on mute. It feels wrong, doesn't it? It feels disconnected. Without sound, the emotion drains out of the picture. Yet, in our own bedrooms, many of us fall into the silence trap. For women, silence often feels like a safe place. We internalize our pleasure. We go quiet because we are concentrating or because we are self-conscious about the noises we make. We worry that our breath sounds strange or that vocalizing feels fake. So we clamp our mouths shut. We breathe silently through our noses. To you, this silence might feel like peace. But I need you to understand what this silence feels like to him. To a man, silence is not peace. Silence is a void. When he is with you, his brain is scanning for data. He is desperate for feedback. He is asking himself 1,000 rapid-fire questions. Does she like this? Is she bored? Is she thinking about her to-do list? Am I hurting her? When you are silent, you force his brain to guess the answers. And because the human brain has a negativity bias, he will often guess wrong. He will interpret your silence as tolerance rather than pleasure. He will feel like he is performing at you rather than sharing with you. This creates a subtle anxiety in his nervous system. Instead of losing himself in the moment, he stays in his analytical mind, monitoring the situation, trying to figure out if he is doing a good job. If you want him to tremble, if you want him to completely let go of his control and surrender to you, you must give him the data he needs to feel safe. You must break the silence. You don't need to scream. You don't need to put on a show, but you do need to create a soundtrack for his desire. Sound is the tether that keeps him in the room. When he hears you, he knows exactly where you are emotionally. He stops guessing and starts feeling. But what exactly should you say? This is where many women freeze. They fear saying something awkward. Let's remove that fear right now with specific, powerful permission phrases. The permission phrase, the fear of talking dirty, holds so many women back. You might think that to use your voice, you have to say aggressive or graphic things that don't feel like your personality. Let's throw that idea away. We are not trying to be porn stars. We are trying to be partners. We are looking for auditory anchors. These are simple, short phrases that act as psychological green lights. Remember where we are in the sequence. You have just paused him for 3 seconds, red light. You are now pulling him in green light. This moment requires a verbal confirmation to bridge the gap. Here are the 3 most powerful anchors you can use. Anchor 81 in his name. It sounds simple, but it is devastatingly effective. When you whisper his name right at the threshold moment, you are telling him, I know who you are. I am not just having sex with a body. I am choosing Yao Yu. It personalizes the act instantly. Anchor Tunde right here. This is a grounding phrase. If you feel him rushing or if you feel the moment getting chaotic, whisper right here. It brings his focus back to the present. It tells him, stay in this feeling. Don't go anywhere else. Anchor Ve 3A. Yes, this is the ultimate permission phrase. A soft breathless, yes, as you guide him and creates a massive psychological release for him. It confirms that he is welcome. It confirms that you are enthusiastic. It removes every shred of doubt from his mind. Why do these simple words work? Because men are conditioned to be protectors. Deep down, there is always a tiny fear in a good man that he might be taking too much or that he is being too aggressive. That fear keeps a part of him guarded. When you verbally give him permission, when you explicitly say yes or say his name with warmth, you dissolve that fear, you liberate him. He realizes he doesn't have to hold back. He realizes he is safe to unleash his full passion because you have explicitly invited it. But here is the secret sauce. The words themselves are only 10% of the equation. The other 90%, it's the vibration, it's the pitch. It is the tone of your surrender that hits his nervous system like a drug. The tone of surrender. Have you ever noticed how your voice changes when you are stressed? It goes up, it gets higher, tighter, faster. High pitch sounds are evolutionarily linked to distress, panic, or immaturity. Now think about the voice of a woman who is completely relaxed, confident, and deep in pleasure. It drops, it becomes lower, slower, and richer. This is the tone of surrender. If you whisper to him in a high, squeaky, or anxious voice, his body will tense up. He will subconsciously register distress, but low frequency sounds have a calming, hypnotic effect on the male nervous system. A low voice signals safety. It signals that you are grounded. It signals that you are a woman in her full power, not a girl who is unsure. So when you use those permission phrases, when you whisper his name, I want you to drop your voice into your chest. Imagine the sound is coming from your heart, not your nose. And if you can't find the words, if speaking feels too difficult in that intense moment, use the universal sound of surrender the breath. Don't just breathe, vocalize the breath. Let your exhale be audible. Let there be a sound of relief in your throat. A soft moan is nothing more than a vocalized exhale. There is a specific technique called the catch. It's when you inhale sharply, as if the pleasure has surprised you, and then let it out slowly with a low hum. Oh, that sound, it bypasses his logic entirely. It goes straight to his primal brain. It tells him, I am feeling this. You are affecting me. Validation is the greatest aphrodisiac for a man. When he hears that low tone, that catch in your breath, he feels like a king. He feels capable. He feels potent. And when a man feels potent, he doesn't rush, he savors. He wants to keep hearing that sound, so he stays in the moment to earn it again and again. You have now anchored him with touch, sight, and sound. He is fully present. But there is one final physiological bridge we must build to synchronize your bodies completely. We must align the very rhythm of life itself. We must align your breath. Breath synchronization, the nervous system bridge. We have arrived at the invisible engine of intimacy. We have spoken about hands, eyes, and voice, all things you can see and hear, but there is a silent force that governs everything we have discussed so far. That force is the breath. To understand why this matters, we have to look at biology for a moment. When a man is rushing, when you are nervous, when the adrenaline is high, what happens to your breathing? It becomes shallow, it moves up into the chest, it becomes rapid, and sometimes jagged. This is the breath of fight or flight. It is the breath of survival. When the body breathes this way, the nervous system signals the brain that there is an emergency. The body prepares for action, not for connection. If you are breathing shallowly, and he is breathing shallowly, you are essentially two people in a state of high stress survival mode, trying to be intimate. You might be physically close, but your nervous systems are walled off from each other. You are colliding, not merging. This is why so many sexual encounters feel frantic or purely physical. The bridge hasn't been built. However, the breath is unique. It is the only part of the autonomic nervous system that you can consciously control. You cannot tell your heart to beat slower. You cannot tell your digestion to stop, but you can tell your lungs to slow down. And when you slow down your breath, you hack the system. You force your body to switch from sympathetic dominance, a stress action, to parasympathetic dominance, a relaxation bonding. To make him tremble, you cannot just be another source of stimulation for him. You must be his sanctuary. You must be the place where his nervous system finally uncoils and rests. You do this by becoming the breath leader. Most women match the man's pace unconsciously. He breathes fast, so you breathe fast. But today, we are going to flip that dynamic. You are going to use your breath to pull him into a state of deep trance, like surrender. But you cannot just force it. You have to be subtle. You have to use the technique of the sync technique. How do you calm a man down without saying a word? How do you stop the rush without killing the mood? You use a psychological principle called pacing and leading. If he is breathing rapidly, short, sharp breaths of passion, and you are breathing deeply and slowly like a yoga master, you will disconnect. The gap is too wide. He will feel like you aren't hone it with him. He is running a sprint and you are taking a nap. To connect, you must first join him where he is. Step one, say the pace, the match in the moments leading up to the threshold. Listen to his breathing. Feel the rise and fall of his chest against yours. For 10 to 20 seconds, I want you to match him. If he breathes short, you breathe short. If he exhales sharply, you exhale sharply. Mirror his rhythm. This creates a subconscious rapport. His primal brain registers, she is with me. We are the same. It builds trust. It tells him you are riding the same wave. Step 2A, the lid, the shift. Once you are sensed, you take control. This happens precisely during the sacred pause we learned in chapter 2. As you stop him with your hands and as you lock eyes, I want you to take one deliberately slow, deep inhale through your nose. Expand your belly, not just your chest. Then exhale slowly through your mouth. Because you have established rapport, his body will unconsciously want to follow yours. It is a biological phenomenon called entertainment. Just as heartbeats can synchronize when people sleep next to each other, breathing synchronizes during intimacy. By slowing your breath down significantly, dropping from a sprint to a slow, deep rhythm, you act as an anchor. You are heavy. You are grounded. He will feel your chest moving slowly against his. He will hear your slow exhale. And without even realizing he is doing it, his body will mimic you. He will take a deep breath. He will slow down. In that moment of synchronization, the frantic energy evaporates. The tremble begins. The tremble happens because he is suddenly feeling everything at once, but with a calm mind. He isn't rushing past the sensation. He is drowning in it. Now that you have sensed your rhythms, you are ready for the final layer of this chapter, the visualization that turns breath into spirit. Breathing him in, we have addressed biology. Now let's touch on the energy. For many women, the act of taking a man in is purely physical, but if you want to leave a mark on his soul that lasts forever, you must engage your imagination. This is the technique of breathing him in. As you are sensed, as you are holding him, looking at him, and breathing slowly together, I want you to change your intention. Don't just inhale oxygen. Visualize that you are inhaling him. Imagine that with every breath you take, you are drawing his essence into your body. You are breathing in his desire, his strength, his vulnerability, and his love. And when you exhale, imagine you are breathing trust back into him. The psychology, why does this visualization matter? Because your thoughts dictate your micro movements. When you think, I am breathing him in, your body softens, your rib cage expands more fully. Your embrace becomes tighter, more possessive in a loving way. Your eyes deepen. He cannot read your mind, but he can feel the shift in your vibe. When a woman breathes as if she is drinking in her partner's very soul, it creates a magnetic vacuum. He feels pulled toward you. He feels an intense desire to give you everything he has because he feels you receiving everything he is. It turns the act of sex into a cycle of energy. He gives, you receive and transmute, and you give back. This is the difference between friction and fusion. Friction is two bodies rubbing together. Fusion is two nervous systems, two breaths, and two energies becoming one loop. When he leaves your bed after an experience like this, he will feel different. He won't just feel physically satisfied, he will feel spiritually recharged. He will feel lighter, and he will be addicted to the woman who gave him that peace. You have now mastered the physical and energetic foundations, but there is one thing that can ruin all of this work in a second: your own mind. In the next chapter, we are going to tackle the enemy of intimacy, performance anxiety, and how to silence it for good. Overcoming performance anxiety, the am I good enough trap, we have built a powerful framework together. You know how to pause, you know how to look, you know how to breathe. But I know there is a voice in the back of your head that might be whispering right now. It is a quiet, nagging voice that says, this sounds amazing, but can I pull it off? What about my body? What if I look old in that lighting? What if I'm not experienced enough? This is, am I good enough? Trap, and it is the single greatest killer of intimacy. You can do every technique I have taught you perfectly, but if your mind is busy critiquing your own body, the energy will be dead. You cannot be magnetic if you are judging yourself. When you are worrying about the roll of skin on your stomach, or worrying that your thighs look wide, or worrying that you aren't moving sexily enough, you are essentially splitting your consciousness. Half of you is in the bed, the other half is hovering above, criticizing the scene like a harsh director. This self-consciousness creates a wall. He feels it. He might not know what is wrong, but he will feel a coldness. He will feel you pulling away physically or energetically to hide the parts of yourself you don't like. And here is the tragedy. He doesn't see what you see. When a man is in that threshold moment, when he is trembling with the desire to enter you, he is not critiquing you. He is not looking for cellulite. He is not measuring you against a magazine cover. He is overwhelmed by the fact that you are there. He is overwhelmed by your softness, your warmth, and your willingness to let him in. The things you consider flaws, to him in that moment, they are just the texture of the woman he desires to make him tremble. You must first give yourself permission to exist exactly as you are. You must fire the critic in your head. You have to realize that your insecurity is an insult to his desire. If he wants you, believe him. Presence over perfection. Let's go deeper into what men actually crave. We are sold a lie by movies and media. We are told that the perfect lover is a woman with a perfect body who knows unparalleled acrobatic tricks. We think we need to be a performance artist to keep a man interested. But if you ask men about their most unforgettable sexual experiences, the ones that made them fall in love, the ones they remember 20 years later, they never talk about a flat stomach. They never talk about perfection. They talk about presence. They talk about the woman who was so lost in the moment that she didn't care how she looked. They talk about the woman who laughed when things got awkward. They talk about the woman who moaned without shame, who grabbed him with desperation, who looked at him with wild, messy, raw honesty. Perfection is boring. Perfection is cold. A mannequin is perfect, but no man trembles for a mannequin. He trembles for life. When you prioritize looking good over feeling good, you become a statue. But when you prioritize presence, when you decide, I am going to feel every inch of this, I am going to enjoy my own body, you become a live wire. Your pleasure is the fuel for his ego. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that turns a man on more than seeing a woman who is completely abandoned to her own enjoyment. If you are worrying about your hair, you aren't enjoying yourself. And if you aren't enjoying yourself, he feels like he is failing. So the next time that anxiety creeps in, I want you to flip the script. Instead of asking, do I look good to him? Ask yourself, does this feel good to me? Shift your focus from the external, how you look, to the internal side, how you feel. When you chase your own pleasure, you become radiant. Your skin flushes, your eyes dilate, your movement becomes fluid and natural. That is the magnetism we are after. But what do you do if the panic hits you in the middle of the act? How do you reset? Self-soothing in the moment, even with the best intentions, anxiety can spike. Maybe the lighting changes, or a thought intrudes and suddenly your chest tightens. You feel the freeze response coming on. You need a rescue button. You need a way to self-soothe without stopping the entire encounter. Here are 3 micro movements that instantly tell your nervous system, we are safe. 1, the jaw release. There is a direct physiological connection between the jaw and the pelvic floor. When we are anxious, we clench our teeth. This tightens the hips and blocks sensation. If you feel panic, consciously drop your jaw. Part your lips slightly. Wiggle your jaw side to side for a second. As your mouth softens, your hips will soften. The tension will drain out of your body too. The open palm. Anxiety makes us make fists. We grab the sheets. We clench our hands. Open your hands. Spread your fingers wide. Place your open palms flat on his back or on the bed. An open hand signals receptivity to the brain. You cannot remain in fight or flight if your hands are open and soft. 3, the grounding touch. If you feel like you are floating away in your head, bring your attention to one specific point of contact. Feel the exact texture of his skin under your fingertips, or feel the weight of your own hips pressing into the mattress. Say to yourself internally, I am here. I am real. I am safe. These tiny adjustments take less than a second, but they keep you in the driver's seat. They allow you to stay present enough to maintain the pause, the gaze, and the breath. And once you have conquered the fear, you are ready to create something permanent. You are ready to create an imprint. Energetic imprinting, creating a memory hook. What we are doing here is not just about one night of pleasure. It is about psychology. It is about how memory works. Have you ever wondered why you remember certain moments from your past vividly, while years of your life seem to fade into a blur? The human brain does not record everything like a video camera. It records peaks. It holds onto moments of high emotional intensity or interrupted patterns. In psychology, this is called anchoring or creating a memory hook. When you engage in autopilot intimacy, the kind where you rush, close your eyes, and stay silent, you are creating a low friction memory. It is pleasant, yes, but it is forgettable. It leaves no trace on his subconscious because it followed a predictable script. But when you use the sacred pause, you are creating a high friction memory. Think about the sequence we have built. You stopped him, interruption. You looked into his soul, vulnerability. You breathed with him, synchronization. In that specific moment, his brain is flooded with a cocktail of neurochemicals, dopamine, adrenaline, oxytocin. By pausing right at the peak of that chemical flood, you are effectively taking a mental snapshot. You are searing your image into his mind. This is energetic imprinting. You are teaching his body to associate that feeling of intense, trembling desire specifically with you. You are wiring his nervous system to recognize your touch, your gaze, and your breath as the trigger for his surrender. This is how you become the woman he cannot get out of his head. When he is at work the next day or driving his car, his mind will drift back to that specific 3-second pause. He won't just remember having sex. He will remember the way you looked at him when time stood still. He will remember the feeling of being held at the threshold. You are not just giving him a physical release, you are giving him a core memory. And core memories are the foundation of deep, long-term attachment. But be warned, when you imprint this deeply, the reaction afterwards can be intense. The aftermath of the tremble, so you have done it. You paused, you gazed, you breathed, you made him tremble. What happens next? If you execute this correctly, do not expect the usual roll over and go to sleep routine. When you shift the energy from purely physical to deeply emotional, the come down is different. You might notice a change in his demeanor immediately after. For some men, this manifests as profound silence. He might become very quiet. Do not mistake this for distance. He is processing. You've taken him to a depth he likely isn't used to, and his brain is basking in the oxytocin, the bonding hormone. For other men, it manifests as unexpected emotion. You might find him clinging to you tighter than usual. He might bury his face in your neck. He might even tear up. Though he may try to hide it, this is the tremble working its way out of his system. He has just experienced a moment of total acceptance and total surrender. For a man who spends his life wearing armor, having that armor stripped away by love is a shock to the system. Your role in the aftermath is simply to hold the space. Don't rush to talk. Don't rush to get up and wash. Stay in the energetic bubble you created. Stroke his hair. Keep that soft eye contact. If he looks at you, this period, the afterglow, is where the imprint solidifies. If you rush away after the act, you break the seal. But if you linger in that warmth, you confirm to him that he is safe. You confirm that the vulnerability he showed you was the right choice. He will look at you differently in these moments. You will see a softness in his face that is usually reserved for children. That is the look of a man who has not just been satisfied, but who has been nourished. But one amazing night is not enough to change a dynamic forever, to truly transform your relationship. This cannot be a trick. Consistency is key. I want to leave you with a crucial piece of advice regarding this technique. The sacred pause is not a magic trick you pull out of a hat once a year to impress him on your anniversary. It is not a gimmick. If you do it once, it will be a wonderful surprise. But if you do it consistently, it becomes a standard. You are retraining his nervous system. The first time you stop him, he is surprised. The second time, he is intrigued. The 10th time, he begins to anticipate it. He will start to approach you differently. He will stop rushing on his own because he knows that you are the gatekeeper who sets the pace. He will learn that the pause is part of how you make love. He will learn that he doesn't get to cross the threshold until he is connected with you emotionally. You are effectively rewriting the sexual script of your relationship. You are teaching him, in this bed, we do not rush. In this bed, we see each other. In this bed, we connect before we consume. This takes courage. It requires you to show up as this empowered, present woman every single time, even when you are tired. But the reward is a man who doesn't just want your body. He craves your presence. He craves the specific way you make him feel. By making this a habit, you ensure that the tremble isn't a one-time event. It becomes the heartbeat of your intimacy. We have covered the technique, the psychology, and the imprint. But there is one final barrier we must address. It is the deep, dark fear that stops us from being this powerful. The fear that says, is this too much? In the next chapter, we will discuss the forbidden aspect of feminine power and why you must reclaim it. The forbidden aspect, why this scares us, the vulnerability hangover. We have arrived at the hardest truth of this entire masterclass. Everything I have taught you, the pause, the gaze, the breath, sounds beautiful in theory, but when you actually try to do it, you might feel a sudden, intense resistance. You might feel a voice inside screaming, "Stop! This is too much! Pull back!" This is the fear of the vulnerability hangover. For many of us, especially if we have been hurt before, keeping our eyes closed and our breath shallow is a survival strategy. We have learned to be the cool girl. We have learned to be low maintenance. We have learned that if we don't ask for too much and if we don't show too much emotion, we can't be rejected. If you keep sex purely physical and he leaves, it hurts, but it's survivable. But if you open your soul, if you look into his eyes and breathe him in, and then he rejects you, that feels like a death. So we put up walls. We armor our hearts. We let him have our bodies, but we keep our spirits locked away in a tower where they are safe. But I want you to realize the cost of that safety. The wall that protects you from pain is the exact same wall that blocks you from love. You cannot selectively numb your feelings. If you numb the fear, you numb the joy. If you numb the risk, you numb the connection. The reason the sacred pause feels scary is because it removes the armor. It leaves you naked in every sense of the word. But this fear is a compass. It is telling you exactly where the magic is. The tremble we want from him. It can only happen if you are willing to risk your own trembling first. You have to be willing to feel too much. You have to be willing to be the woman who cares deeply, who feels intensely, and who isn't afraid to show it. Yes, it is terrifying, but the alternative is a lifetime of safe, lukewarm, forgettable encounters. And you were made for fire. Reclaiming your sacred space, there is another reason this technique feels forbidden. It's because it requires you to take back your power. For centuries, women have been conditioned to be the receivers in intimacy, often in a passive way. We are taught to be polite. We are taught to accommodate. We are taught that his desire is a runaway train and our job is just to get out of the way or go along for the ride. The sacred pause flips that narrative on its head. When you put your hand on his chest and stop him, you are making a radical declaration. You are saying, my body is a temple, not a convenience store. A convenience store has automatic doors. Anyone can walk in, take what they want and leave. There is no ceremony. There is no reverence. But a temple has gates. A temple has a guardian. You cannot just rush into a temple. You must enter with respect. You must pause at the threshold. You must acknowledge the sacredness of the space. You are the guardian. When you use this technique, you are reclaiming your right to govern access to your own sacred space. You are deciding that entry is a privilege, not a right. This is not about being withholding or manipulating. It is about self-respect. When you treat your own body with reverence, by demanding that pause, by demanding that eye contact, you teach him to treat it with reverence too. He cannot respect a boundary that doesn't exist. By creating that 3-second boundary, you are subconsciously signaling, I value myself, I am a prize, and if you want to be here, you must be present. This shifts you from a woman who is hoping he likes it to a woman who knows her worth. It is the ultimate act of feminine authority, and there is nothing more magnetic to a masculine man than a woman who knows she is sacred. He doesn't want a door that is always open. He wants a gate that he has to earn the right to walk through. The gift of trust, finally, we must talk about the healing power of this act. When you reclaim your space and open your heart, you are offering him a gift that is rare in this modern world. The gift of trust. We live in a cynical time. Men and women are often at war with each other, protecting their egos, playing games, keeping score. But in that 3-second pause, when you look him in the eye and soften your breath, you are putting down your weapons. You are saying, I am trusting you with me, all of me. This is profound. Many men are starved for this kind of trust. They are used to being treated as if they are only after one thing, or as if they are emotionally incompetent. When you trust a man to meet you in the deep end, he will almost always rise to the occasion. By trusting him, you make him trustworthy. You are giving him a chance to be the hero. You are giving him a chance to be the protector of your heart, not just the lover of your body. When he feels that you trust him enough to stop the rush and show him your soul, his protective instinct kicks in. He stops being a consumer and starts being a partner. So do not let the fear stop you. The fear is just a shadow. The reality is that on the other side of that pause lies the connection you have been searching for your entire life. You have the tools, you understand psychology, you know the risks, and you know the rewards. Now let's bring it all together. Let's weave every single thread, the pause, the gaze, the breath, the sound, and the mindset into one final seamless vision of what your night is about to look like. The Forever Effect summary of the transformation. We have traveled a long way together in this masterclass. We started with the biological rush, the frantic, disconnected race to the finish line, and we have dismantled it piece by piece. Now, I want to give you a final gift. I want to weave all these threads together into one seamless vision. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and mentally rehearse exactly what your next encounter is going to look like. Imagine the moment arrives. The heat is there. The desire is there. He is moving towards you, driven by that ancient biological need to merge. But this time you do not shrink. You do not hide. You do not rush. As he approaches the threshold, you reach out. You place your hand firmly on his chest. You stop the world. 1. You feel his heart beating against your palm. You feel the shock in his body as he halts. 2. You open your eyes. You soften your brow. You look directly into his left eye with total, unshakable acceptance. You see him. 3, you take a deep, slow breath, inhaling his energy into your lungs. The silence hangs in the air, heavy and electric. He is no longer running. He is hovering. He is waiting for you. And then you break the spell. You slide your hand up to his neck. You whisper his name in that low, velvet tone of surrender. You exhale a sound of welcome and you pull him in. He enters you not as a conqueror taking a prize, but as a king entering his sanctuary. The rhythm is slow. The breath is sensed. The connection is absolute. This is not a fantasy. This is a choice. It is a choice available to you every single time you are intimate. It is the choice to move from having sex to embodying love. You have the roadmap. You have the tools. The only thing left is for you to step into the role of the gatekeeper. That Tremble explained, the title of this video promised you that if you did this, hey, we'll tremble forever. I want to explain exactly what that means because it is the most important concept to take away from our time together. When we talk about a man trembling, we are not just talking about the physical shudder of release. That is biology. That happens to everyone. The forever tremble is emotional resonance. Think of a bell. When you strike it hard and fast, it makes a loud noise, but the sound dies quickly. But when you strike it with precision, with the right resonance, the vibration hums in the air long after the strike is over. You can feel it in your bones. When you use the sacred pause, you are striking the bell of his soul with precision. You are creating a moment where he feels completely stripped of his defenses, yet completely safe. You are creating a moment where he is forced to be present. This creates a vibration in his psyche that does not go away when he leaves your bed. He will tremble when he thinks of you on his drive to work. He will feel a phantom sensation of your hand on his chest when he is sitting in a meeting. He will remember the way you looked at him, and he will feel a sudden, sharp ache of longing in his chest. That ache, that is the tremble. It is the feeling of being haunted by a woman, not because she played games, not because she was hard to get, but because she was the only one brave enough to make him stop and feel. In a world full of noise, distraction, and superficial encounters, the woman who offers deep, terrified, sacred presence is a unicorn. She is the woman a man cannot replace. She is the woman who changes him. He trembles because for the first time, he wasn't just using a body, he was meeting a soul. And once a man has tasted that level of connection, he will never settle for anything less. Final empowerment, my dear, you are more powerful than you know. Society has told you that as you get older or as your body changes, your magnetism fades. Society has told you that men hold the cards in the bedroom. Today, we have proven that is a lie. Magnetism is not about the firmness of your skin. It is about the depth of your presence. Power is not about who is dominant. It is about who controls the flow of time. You are the gatekeeper. You are the architect of the moment. The nervousness you felt, the shaking hands, that was just your power waiting to be used. Tonight, or whenever you are next with him, I challenge you. Be brave. Be the one who stops the train. Be the one who opens her eyes. Watch how he changes. Watch how the dynamic shifts. And realize that the secret was never about learning a new trick. It was about remembering who you are. Call to action. If this masterclass has opened your eyes to a new way of loving, I have a small request. These secrets of intimacy are rarely spoken about. If you found value here, please click the like button. It helps this message reach other women who are struggling in silence. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to learn the psychology of his desire, the secrets of his emotional needs, and how to become the most magnetic version of yourself, click that subscribe button right now. We have so much more to cover. I want to hear from you in the comments. Will you try the sacred pause? Type, I am the gatekeeper below if you're ready to own your power. I am rooting for you. I will see you in the next video.